North Korea has performed a political 180, saying there is no reason to further pursue nuclear weapons if it gets a security guarantee. The country even promises to halt nuclear tests during proposed talks with the US. This latest development came after a visit to North Korea by a delegation from the south. The head of the group says he was told Pyongyang says there would be no need for a nuclear program if there is no threat of invasion, referring to the US military presence in South Korea. As a result, the two Korean nations will hold their first joint political summit in decades in April. And yet, even with an albeit cautious prospect of peace on the horizon, not everyone is happy. With more on that, here's Caleb Maupin.
The Winter Olympic Games have seen an unprecedented thaw in relations between North and South Korea. And now that the Games are over, the two countries have not given up on their road to better relations. For the first time in more than a decade, South Korean envoys are meeting with Kim Jong-un. You won't hear any celebrating in the U.S., though. Take Donald Trump's tough talk.
As far as the risk of dealing with a madman is concerned, that's his problem, not mine.
While warhawk neocons talk about a military solution.
All the damage that would come from a war would be worth it in terms of long-term stability and national security.
To be fair, U.S. leaders did pause their rehearsal for all-out war during the Olympic Games. But almost as soon as the closing ceremonies were over, the tanks and planes were out once again, and they were rehearsing for mass death. New York Times reports that a classified U.S. military exercise examined the number of U.S. troops that would be involved in a potential conflict on the Korean Peninsula. According to their estimate, roughly 10,000 U.S. soldiers would be wounded in just the first few days of a new Korean war.
The brutality of this war will be beyond the experience of any living soldier.
North and South Korea may be tentatively moving forward, but the reluctant United States will only sit down with conditions. Trump says that a meeting can only be arranged via Beijing if the North will give up their nuclear weapons. That, according to Pyongyang, is a ridiculous and preposterous demand.
We've waited so long for this to come about. There's now leadership in South Korea that is recognizing that this has gone on for far too long. And this leadership under President Moon, who's a progressive lawyer, he knows what dialogue can do and has seen how it can get interrupted by one side or another wanting to engage in this ongoing type of tug of war. The United States has not necessarily had an interest for peace in Korea. Really, it doesn't seem like the leadership wants to create a real atmosphere for peace.
That brings us back to the beginning, full circle, to the vitriolic war of words, which has not exactly been helpful in previous years. Caleb Maupin, RT, New York.